lecture is in continuation with the previous video lecture on the point Introduction to Pharmacognosy. If you haven't watched that video, the link is there in the end. In this video lecture, we'll be discussing the history of pharmacognosy, present status of pharmacognosy, and the scope of pharmacognosy. Then, why are we waiting? Let's get started. So now, let's study the history of pharmacognosy through the timeline of various ages with the various contributors in the field of pharmacognosy. Papyrus Ebus. It is an old written document in 1500 BC. 1500 BC, which contains near about 800 different formulas and 700 drugs. Then comes the contributor in the field of pharmacognosy named Hippocrates in 460 to 370 BC. He was a Greek physician, and due to his enormous contribution in the field of medicine, he is known as father of medicine. He also dealt with the studies related to anatomy and physiology of human beings. Then comes Aristotle in 384 to 322 BC. He was a great philosopher, and he is well known for his study on animal kingdom, and he suggested or discovered the various principles for the classification of animal kingdom. Then came Dioscoride in 14 to 80 AD. He was another great physician who described several plants of medicinal importance in his book called the Materia Medica. The Materia Medica is a text in which all different natural drugs or products which were used by the physicians are compiled in this text called the Materia Medica. Then comes Galen in 131 to 200 AD. Who was a Greek scientist who described various methods for the preparation containing APIs, that is active pharmaceutical constituent that we call in the field of pharmacy, or we could call it as active constituents of crude drugs. Then he found out various methods for the extraction of plant and as well as animal drugs. Then he developed Galenical pharmacy. Galenical pharmacy means the branch of pharmacy that deals with the preparation of medicines by the process of extraction of active constituents of the plant drug. Then comes the greater contributor to the field of pharmacognosy named Sadler. Sadler was a German scientist who termed pharmacognosy, or who coined the term pharmacognosy. When he was a student, he published his thesis on sarsaparilla, and he titled that thesis as Analytica Pharmacognostica. Then he wrote a book named Pharmacognostica Diagnostica, where he coined the term pharmacognosy. Now let's come to the ancient India, or the era of ancient Indian history of pharmacognosy. Here comes Acharya Charak. Acharya Charak was an Indian physician who is known as father of medicine and who was a physician in the court of King Kanishka. He wrote Charak Samhita. Samhita means collection of verses written in Sanskrit. Then Charak Samhita, which is regarded as encyclopedia of Ayurveda. Then comes Acharya Shushruta. Acharya Shushruta was an Indian surgeon and physician. He is known as father of Indian surgery and also known as father of plastic surgery. He was a surgeon in the king Gupta's court and he wrote Shushruta Samhita, and Shushruta Samhita contained surgical procedures and the knowledge of surgical instruments. He first invented and performed experimental procedures and the techniques on cataract and delivery of child by cesarean operations. Then he discovered the prevention techniques of dead bodies. Now, let us discuss the present status of the field pharmacognosy. Nowadays, people have realized the utility of the drugs that is from the natural origin or natural resources, which are not as such economical as compared to the synthesized drugs, but they are more safer than chemically synthesized drugs. Now, first is synthesis of medicinal compounds. Due to modern development and improvement in the field of synthesis of medicinal compounds, it has become very easy to synthesize the active constituents of the plant-based or animal-based drugs in the laboratory itself. Then comes phytochemistry. We all know that pharmacognosy is the branch that deals with natural drugs or natural origin. It is from the natural origin. But nowadays it is stepping towards the another branch, that is phytochemistry, which is itself a separate entity. Phyto means plant and chemistry means chemical in simplified manner. Then nowadays we could see the new moieties, that is molecules coming forward based on natural origin. Scientists have developed and researched many new moieties based on natural drugs to cure various other diseases coming forth, and they are expecting to find many other new moieties from natural origin to cure the diseases which would be coming in upcoming years. Then others like methods of extraction of various other natural origin drugs. Then phytochemical isolation of various drugs which are in the category of alkaloids, glycosides, etc. Then in the plant tissue culture and in vitro assays of various natural based or natural resource based drugs. This is the present status of pharmacognosy. Now, let's come to the end of today's video lecture, that is by studying scope of pharmacognosy. The first scope of pharmacognosy is to provide knowledge regarding plant-based drugs, animal-based drugs, marine-based drugs, and mineral-based drugs. Then it helps to find out the adulteration or substitution of the drug. Then it helps us to understand purification, standardization, extraction, isolation, formulation of drug. Then the last but the very important scope of pharmacognosy is in the production of plant with the greater amount of active constituents, then in the production of paper, then in the production of fabrics, then in the production of spices and cereals. So this whole is the scope of pharmacognosy. Let's discuss it once again. The scope of pharmacognosy is to provide knowledge regarding mineral-based, marine-based and animal and plant-based natural drugs. Then the other scope of the pharmacognosy is to find out the adulteration and substitution in the crude drug. Then it helps us in the production of plant with higher constituent or active constituents, then in production of paper, fabrics, spices and cereals. Then it helps us to understand the extraction procedure, isolation procedure, purification, standardization and formulation of natural drugs. Here we conclude the point Introduction to Pharmacognosy. Hope you liked and understood. Join me for further more video lectures by subscribing and pressing the bell. Till then, thank you. Jai.